Hi everyone, welcome to the Safe Table podcast where I have invited Professor Yvonne Henry from Centennial College. She is an accomplished microbiologist, educator, and a mentor in the food science and biotechnology field. So let's dive into chat with her and find out about her inspiring journey and invaluable expertise. Good morning. I am here today on the Safe Table podcast, episode 8 with Professor Henry. Good morning, Professor. How
Good morning, Tanya. I'm doing well.
First of all, thank you so much for accepting my invite to be on the show. I think this episode is going to be insightful for so many students. And to all, I would like to mention that Professor Henry is a professor who's teaching biotechnology and food science in Centennial College. And she started her career from microbiologist, then as a research scientist, and now she's a professor. Henry, I would like to know what inspired you to transition from being a microbiologist, research scientist, and now a professor.
It was kind of a full circle story, if you will, that when I finished my education, I went into teaching part time and I just really, really loved it and realized that I needed the industry experience to be the best teacher that I could. So it was just about after 10 years of being in the industry where an opportunity came up that I could go back and teach full time that I had to take it. And I enjoyed what I was doing, but I love what I'm doing now. It's a much bigger forum to impact people's lives when I'm teaching them versus in the industry. I had the same group of employees for, 5, 10 years, and you can only impact their lives so much. Where in the college, it's always new people, and I get to see the like drastic changes they put into their life as they go through school.
Yeah, it really had put impact on a lot of students, including me. Were you always passionate about teaching?
No, it was never a dream and never a plan to be a teacher. I didn't actively seek it out. When I was a student in the biotech program, I just found that I liked being a peer tutor and I enjoyed teaching my friends and I found I liked it. It was just something I did as a hobby and then it turned into a career. And that's kind of the best jobs they say, right? Jobs that you don't realize you're working.
Yeah. If you don't have stress of what you're doing and you feel
Mm.
passionate about it, then I think that's the most happiest thing that a person can do, right? So you have played so many roles, right? What position challenged you the most?
Probably the different roles that I had earlier in my career when I was like working with temp agencies, because it would be different jobs every couple of months. You wanted to make a good impression, you wanted to learn everything quickly, but there is a limit to kind of what they will teach you as a temp employee. So those have always been memorable to me because I got to experience so much in such a short period of time that it's still stuck with me and I still use those examples and those experiences to teach others today.
So, when you got into role of teaching, did you did you have to do any further education other than because you were already doing working as a microbiologist and a research scientist? Did you have to take any extra courses or certification or any exams you gave to get into professor, or was it easy because you had all those like major qualifications and then just a job interview and then you got into it?
I had the major qualifications before I went into the industry again. I needed a master's degree in anything. It didn't need to be teaching specific, but I got a master's in environmental science just to keep me in the science field. And then I went into the food industry and never used my master's, but it was there when the position came open for teaching. But there's always something to learn as a teacher. I find that I'm not doing formal courses as much right now, but I'm learning something from my students or from the course I'm trying to teach or from an assignment I'm trying to create. There's always opportunities to not be bored and challenge myself to go further and beyond. And when I can't do that in academia, I like to do it with my student club and push them to, create bigger events and do bigger, outreaches or tours. And there's always a way to keep engaged in learning.
Centennial College is the only one where you have worked as a professor, or you have worked in any other colleges as well?
I did work at one other community college locally, but it was a online teaching component. So I never actually went to campus. So my heart is at Centennial and it stays there. I have the longest history with them. So even though I did work a little bit, and it's ironic, I wasn't teaching sciences at that other college. I was teaching other teachers how to be teachers. So it was a completely different field
Wow.
even that I was doing there. But it was a short term kind of role that I could keep while I was working in the science, like in the food industry, to keep teaching and science kind of concurrently.
How long have you been teaching?
I started teaching in 2006. So
Oh,
we're coming on 20 years. And then, even in the industry, a lot of the roles, I was in a supervisory role for the majority of my industry time. And a lot of that was corporate training. So, running webinars with like the North American version of the company, and teaching other labs how to use things and do things, and looking at the documents, training new employees, implementing and training new methods. So, even if though I wasn't a professor, I was still involved in teaching people. And I love that part of it.
20 years is a huge, huge time. So you have seen a continuous change in the education system,
Why, yes.
right? A huge change, like 20 years. Come on, it's a lifetime. What improvements would you like to see in today's education system? Because you have seen so many changes. Is there anything that you are specifically concerned about today's education system, or there were things that you liked 10 years ago that okay, these things were better, it's were easier for students to go
Mhm.
out, get the jobs, anything that any
Yeah.
improvement you would like to see?
From my experience as a student, when I went through the biotech program, I graduated with about 20 peers. So, very small program. And I loved it because I knew everybody. The teachers were not overwhelmed. There was less of them. The course schedule was nice, Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. I would love to see that environment brought back to the students. Right now, their schedules are stressed where they're taking classes from 8:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night. And it's just so all over the place that there's no consistency in it. So I would love to see that brought back, smaller sizes, so that there's more interaction and more opportunity. If I'm teaching a class of 20, I can do so many more enriching activities in the classroom versus a class of 200 where I can't do anything. They just have to listen to me talk. So I'd really like that perspective brought back. And then the other thing that I'm trying to bring in and push right now through the student club, but it's limited because of the student size, is industry connection. So industry tours being a requirement of every program, job shadowing programs, co-ops would be amazing. But I understand I can't force the industry to hire my students. But those experiences of connecting with what your job is going to be were so enlightening to me that they changed my career path. Even at such an early age, my very first co-op, I realized this is great, but this isn't where I want my life to be. I need more education. I need to do XYZ to get what I want. And if the students don't know that right away, it's harder for them to find that out when, they're dependent on their salary and they can't take a turn and go to another, education institution or develop more. So if there were more companies willing to partner with the college for a half a day job shadow or an industry tour once a month, those things would be so impactful to the students that it would really improve the quality of the education if that could become a requirement, not just a bonus that they're getting.
Right. And I have seen you, Professor, taking so many initiatives, doing so many different things for students to get co-op or different, like even calling all the industry people, like key people, and talking about and see if they can help students, right? I agree with you. Even when I was at Centennial College, I'm an immigrant. So I was told so many times that, oh, you're not never gonna get a job. It's not easy out there. When was it? 2018?
Mhm.
We just try if you get somewhere, right? But I think this is the good message that you're delivering here, and I want to add on to it that don't give up. Like, keep
Mhm.
those people who said you're never going to get a job, even if you're an immigrant, you will get a job. Yes, student size is definitely became a problem and still a problem, but yeah, that is something we cannot control at our level. That we can only try our best to guide each and every person to take their best path. Thank you for answering that
Yeah.
question. So I would also like to know, what are some of the latest trends in microbiology or biotechnology that excite you or have the potential to revolutionize the industry?
Two things kind of came to mind when you asked that. The first one is AI. I want to see what AI is going to do to the industry. I know it's had a huge impact on kind of the teaching field, and I wouldn't in my everyday life have a use for AI, but I found that I've needed to learn about it and find ways to use it so that I can understand my student population who are definitely using it. So I would love to know how the industry is going to put that to use because it's such a powerful tool. How are they going to take advantage of it to kind of build on what they need? That is really neat. And then, kind of the other thought that I had, it's a more scientific thought, was I was at a conference a year or so ago and saw they were using bacteriocins, so bactericidin, just a chemical that bacteria naturally make to kill other bacteria, as food preservatives. So it was added into food, not listed as an ingredient because it wasn't qualifying that way by the government. And it was just something they could put in and prevent listeria from growing in this food no matter what. So it was really
Oh,
cool to use bacteria against bacteria, which we've kind of done through history, but it was a new approach to food science to be able to use that as an additive, not an ingredient in the food, and have the extra layer of safety.
right, and that's all, and that's not also going to give any, when consumer is consuming the
Hmm.
product, I think it's only going to help them because a lot of bacteria, they're good for your gut health,
Yeah,
right? So if it is one of those types of bacteria that will also control the listeria, which is a huge, huge challenge in the food industry,
yeah.
especially with the ready to eat products, and having something, oh, I've never even heard of it. This is something amazing. Oh, I learned something new too. I didn't know that. Yeah, I've never even read any articles or anything about it.
Hmm.
Okay. And another thing that you mentioned about AI, I was working with someone. So there is this company, I cannot name it, in they're Vancouver based, and they are making a AI based software on food safety. So basically it's for consultants and for food companies who can simply type, okay, I need SOP on this, and then software will generate a whole SOP. I was
Nice.
trying to do a test with them. Of course, there are a lot of bugs that they need to fix it before they're already using and implemented that on the natural health product and supplement industry, but they're still trying to do it for the food and beverage industry. I think that can really help a lot of small food businesses specifically
Right.
who cannot afford to hire a lot of people at the first to have a proper HACCP and food safety plan, to have at least the basic one, and as the company grow it can, those are the, but I personally feel like that it would be a challenging for us too. If everything would be dependable on AI, then who's gonna need us?
I've learned, especially from marking assignments, that students
Yeah.
need to proofread when they use AI. And I assume the industry would be the same. It's great at gathering all the information, but you still need that human decision to what is appropriate to our product, to our workflow, and our facilities.
Right. I did try ChatGPT to create a HACCP plan just to see, but yes, you're right. You need a human because that was literally everywhere. It got confused and it's taking information from everywhere and just putting it everything all together for you and asking you, now you figure it out what you want for your HACCP.
Right.
What skills do you think will be most valuable for students who are entering the field of biotechnology in the next decade?
Leadership. Definitely leadership and um, like confidence communication. So I've kind of learned just speaking with different employers over the years too, that all of the technical skills that we're giving our students, they can learn that on the job. That's not something that they're going to be um, you know greatly praised for because it's easy to teach, but their personality. So the students who I see who are natural leaders, who are not afraid to ask questions, not afraid to have somebody say, no, I can't do that right now, but maybe later. Those ones that have the proactive approach and they're willing to take the initiative to go and put themselves on a limb and take a risk, those are the skills I think that are going to make a difference to um, who becomes the leader in the industry in the next 10 years, and who just gets a job and stays in their job. Yeah, I really see that impact with the new graduates in terms of how fast they get hired based on their personality. And I think that's the key part, their personality.
Do you think these skills should be taught in the college too, like as a part of course? I don't know, maybe just a small part of the whole curriculum, like something like that, where students would know, okay, these are the also the other skills that we, because there are a lot of students I feel like who don't even know. They feel like, okay, we have this certification, we have this
Right.
degree, and we are going to go in the interview, answer those five, six typical questions, and we are good to go. Because so many students, even you, Professor, I think students would be reaching out to you on a daily basis probably. What do employer ask in an interview, right? This is the most common question asked. What
Yes.
are they going to ask? But you're right, it's not employer not only look at you what qualification you have, what certifications you have to have also presentable leadership skills when you're going for an interview, because they want you to
Mhm.
take authority on the floor, on the
Yes.
production floor, or in the lab, that okay, if I'm telling you or I'm asking you someone to do this, you can do this. This is how you
Yes.
have to do, and say no whenever there is a need.
Yeah. The courses are generally designed to give them opportunities to practice those skills. That's why we put group work in, even though we know students don't like group work. We put it there because it forces you to practice some of these skills. But students will only practice it to their comfort level. So, yeah, it would be good if there was more of that, or at least more upfront knowledge to the students that I am making you do this. It is going to test you and push you outside of your comfort level, but here is the reason why. Here's the benefit you'll use it for later. And a really great example of this is yesterday I just spoke to a former graduate. She graduated last year. She was the student club president. So very active, go getter, not afraid to ask. She had 3 job offers,
Oh,
like
wow.
within a month of her graduation, which you never hear these stories. That's just her personality. She made the connection. She talked to people, and it helped her get there. It wasn't her degree or her piece of paper diploma. It was her
Yeah.
personality that took her there. So trying to tell the students to put the time in to talk to people and meet strangers and make connections from them, it
Right.
really would pay off, right? Than just sending a resume and waiting.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Nowadays, social media, networking, these things are so, so important. Like you're making creating a account on LinkedIn, you should know how to use it. Just being there, existing is not gonna help, and it doesn't help. Like even me, uh, when I started my career, I when I switched from my private industry job to consulting, LinkedIn is the main platform
Mhm.
that helped me, just putting out my content, sharing about food safety, and then just messaging to people, like so many people, so many. And I still do it every single day. And I don't have any background in all of that. It's just all those small things that I was scared that people are going to judge me, or she's asking us, she's probably don't have work. But I felt like if I won't ask, I'm never gonna get it. So why
Right.
not ask? Like, don't feel shame of it, right? You're right.
Right.
And,
Nope, exactly. And that's how I use LinkedIn too, to keep in touch with people, to ask for industry tours, to share, graduate stories. So yeah, very powerful tool, but you have to be willing to ask and use it. Yes.
exactly, you have to. You're not there just to exist. You have to go and ask. It's not only to put on your resume that I am on LinkedIn. You have to go and ask people what you're looking for. And there are a lot of nice, good people out there open to help. If they cannot help you at first, they will definitely connect you with someone
Hmm.
who can
Hmm.
help.
Yeah.
Professor, you have helped so many students succeed in their careers. What is your approach to mentoring and empowering the next generation professionals?
I don't have a specific approach. I kind of let the students lead. It depends on how much they're willing to put in time and effort. If they ask questions, I'll give them information. If they want me to connect them, I'll connect them. But they have to be willing to do the follow-up work. So it can go as far as I will send resumes to my contacts for certain students if I've built that relationship with them and I know they're putting the work in. Um, where other students, I will just help them do their resume, or other students, I'll just say, go to career services. It really depends on how much effort in that I see from the student, that personality that they bring to me, how much enthusiasm they bring, will determine how far I can take them. Mhm.
What advice you give to those students who want to excel in food science and technology
I
fields?
think it's a theme that we're repeating here. Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because you never know. And if they say no, then that's okay. You say, thank you for your time, and you go off and ask again. That and follow up. Don't. Let it be easy for them to ignore your email if you send a resume, and follow up a month later and say, I'm still interested. I still want to work with you. I'm not being annoying, but I'm, letting you know I'm making your job easy, that I'm still interested. So those are kind of the two key pieces of advice I would give. Just ask, don't be afraid, and make sure you follow up and make someone else's job easy.
Right. I think, yes, follow-ups are so important. We all get so busy and we feel like, again, as I said, you feel like the people, someone's going to judge you. She doesn't have anything else to do. Probably that's why she's asking. But follow-ups are so important. Even if you
Mhm.
what I feel like is, even if you're not going to get something directly from that job, you will get at least experience on how to deal with something like that for your next interview or next just sending out a resume. And all those experiences count when you're going for and working for someone. For
Yeah,
long term, it's always going to help you in your path.
absolutely.
One last question. When you look back on your career so far, what accomplishments make you so proud, make you most proud, and what legacy you would like to leave in the education and science community?
The accomplishments that make me proud are the students that I feel that are like my children. There's a few that I even adopt them. I'm like, I'm your adoptive mother. I'll help you. I'll be your Canadian mother. Um, and watching them grow in their career in ways that I didn't, and they've gone on different routes and been so successful, those are really meaningful to me. It's not the diplomas, it's not the awards, it's the student success, and seeing, now this graduate has two kids, and they've offered me a tour because now they're in a management role. Like, just that circle of giving, that I helped them once and now they're in a role where they can offer and help new students. So that's another very satisfying thing to me, is when graduates move on and come and offer me the exposure that I can give to new students, and kind of, paying it forward is really something I value. And it's taken a lot of years to build up those relationships, but now that I have them, I can offer so much more to my current students now because I've, put the time in to do that. So that's really important for me.
Is it something you do like after school, because after college, because you have so much to do in college anyways? So when did you have all of that time to just,
I
it's a
found
lot of work.
I keep finding that I like doing these extra projects more, not more, but I am enjoying these extra projects with a new kind of refreshed mindset versus teaching. Because I've been teaching the same courses for quite a while. So there is a monotony to it. And I don't need to prepare for the courses as much. So I can spend time talking to people and visiting and going on tours. And it's worth the effort. And I'll usually find like a quiet time, like the week before the semester starts, where there's no marking. And I'll just go and, kind of message everybody I know on LinkedIn and kind of set things up for the semester. And those things really, really pay off.
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Professor. Is there anything you would like to share before we end the episode?
No, just keep trying. Don't give up, students. Your career is out there. Your first job might not be your career. I have quit jobs in my time, and it just wasn't the right fit. Find the right fit, and you'll enjoy what you do, and then it'll be worth it. Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for insightful and so many. You've shared with years and years of wisdom, I think. Thank you so much for your time and have a great weekend.
Well, you're welcome.
Take care. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Safe Table podcast, and a huge thank you to Professor Henry for sharing her wisdom, journey, and vision with us. If you like this episode, please do share, like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss another episode. Until then, bon appetit.